Hello everyone, my name is Ken Stewart. I'm the campus pastor for the East Campus of Rwoods Christian Church. I also act as the group life director for that side of the river. I'm here this morning to talk to you about the next installment of our Better Days series, Open Doors. Jim talked to us this weekend about the idea of seeking God when we're looking for a way out of a situation or a way through it. And in this setting that I'm standing in this morning, I see at least three representations of open doors that are around us virtually all the time. First of all, you'll see the budding trees around me. They are signs of spring, renewal, the seasons that come back each and every year. Also, I'm standing at sunrise. The fact that God gives us a new day every single day, His mercies are new every morning, that represents an opportunity, an open door. So often when we look at our days, we see alarm clocks and schedules and deadlines and other people's expectations. And in the midst of all that, we miss the great opportunities, the open doors that God gives us in the new day. And thirdly, I'm looking at this cabin behind me, and it represents the pioneers and the homesteaders that settled this land. Can you imagine the great expectation and the hope that they found as they walked through the opportunity, the open doors of their day? Can you also imagine the amount of fear that they had to deal with to overcome to walk through those doors? So I wanted to talk about these opportunities, these open doors that are really around us all the time. But secondly, I wanted to talk to us about the idea of waiting. What does it look like to wait for God to open the door rather than to break it down, to pick the lock, or to bust through on our own power? Waiting. When I first heard or considered the idea of full-time ministry, I was in my early teens. A woman came up to me and she said that God had given her a vision for my life. She said she saw me on the ball field, playing ball when God might call me into full-time ministry. And she said specifically that it would happen when I was 19 years old. So when I was 19 years old, specifically when I was playing sports, I kept my eyes and my ears open, looking for the door to open. In that year, around that time, I took an internship with my local church. But try as I might, I did not see or find that open door. So what I did instead is I committed myself to serve the church as much as I could, wherever I could, whenever I could. And I did that for 25 years. It wasn't until 25 years later that God opened the door and gave me the opportunity to come into full-time ministry. And when that door opened, I took it. You see, when I look back on my life, I realized that at age 19, I was not ready. There was so much that God had to do in and through me over that 25 years to develop me, to get me to the point where I was able to take on that challenge, to walk through that door. And had I busted through and made it happen under my own power, God hopefully would have prevailed, but it could have been a recipe for misery. In the book of Jeremiah, there's a similar story. You might recall the passage where God talks about, oh, the plans that I have for you, the things that I want to do for you. But it's in the midst of that conversation that God also says, but wait, that's going to come in 70 years. So the plans that I have for you, the plans to prosper you, all of that conversation, God says, those are the plans, but you're going to have to wait 70 years for it. I had to wait 25 years for my door into full-time ministry to open. How are you with waiting? How am I with waiting? See, there are great opportunities around us, open doors, if we would just open our eyes and ask God to present them to us. But it's very possible that He might say, wait. So a couple things I'd like for you to talk about as you enter into your group tonight or today. First of all, What are some of those opportunities, some of those open doors that are all around us that we can take advantage of so that we might practice walking into them, walking through them, or walking out of particular situations? Opportunities of renewal. So talk a little bit amongst yourselves about that. What are some wonderful opportunities for that? And secondly, I'd like for you to consider what it feels like to wait. Talk a little bit amongst yourselves about the tension between action, moving forward because you feel called by God, and waiting for His perfect timing. As you talk about these two things and look forward to your conversation tonight, blessings to you. My prayer is that your conversation will be full of life, full of encouragement, full of love, full of hope for better days. Have a wonderful session. God bless you.